well, I'm just about to head off on another harebrained adventure. I've decided that I'd quite like to get a train up to Scotland and not get one back, because I'm going to be running back home to Nottingham. My train to Berwick-upon-Tweed, which is very close to the border with Scotland, leaves in about 20 minutes. So I'm walking, not running, but walking to the train station now. Runnable territory! I've been running for 21k, but I haven't really eaten anything today. I don't know if the GoPro will do it justice to just how many of the bastards there are. Yeah, this is easily the heaviest rain I've had so far. It's sick, this wind. I believe those are Horbley Blongers.
Yes, hello and welcome to my latest silly idea where I attempt to run from Scotland back to Nottingham entirely self-supported. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that I will have everything I need on my back. So I'll have my tent, my water, my food, my clothes, absolutely everything I need on my back with no one assisting me in doing that. I will take about 11 days to run about 550 kilometres. That's the plan, at least. The mission starts at England's northernmost point, just a few miles north of the town of Berwick-upon-Tweed. I'll then head south and pick up the Pennine Way, which is a 430 kilometre hiking route across the spine of England. I'll head across the Cheviot Hills, crossing those on the second day before camping near to the town of Inverness, and then heading through the forest in Northumberland and then towards the town of Hexham, where I'll spend the third night. Heading along the old railway paths to Durham, which will be very nostalgic for me, having done my undergraduate degree there, before leaving via similar railway paths towards the town of Barnard-Castle and then spending the next night in Bowes. After that, I'll plunge into the Yorkshire Dales, heading over hill and dale to the small village of Dent, where I've spent a lot of my childhood. At this point, my route heads due south through the Dales and I'll pop out in the industrial heartland of Britain and the old manufacturing towns of North and West Yorkshire, hopping between these towns and the moors that lie between them, crossing the M62 and then eventually heading for the Derbyshire Dales and the Peak District. As I endeavour to conquer this final hilly part of the route, I will reach the end of the Pennine Way in the town of Edale and then hopefully find a place to camp in one of the many campsites. I'll spend 2 nights in the Peak District and the Derbyshire Dales, again camping the second night as well, before the final push back to Nottingham. And actually the finish line will be in Beeston at the Star Inn. That's the plan. 11 days, 550 kilometres and no help from anyone else, just me, my running shoes, my tent and my rucksack. What could possibly go wrong?
It is a bit concerning how long I've been on this train for.
I sat back and tried to enjoy the train journey along the stunningly beautiful east coast of England, acutely aware that tomorrow I'll be setting off on a very long run. As I arrived in Berwick-upon-Tweed, I had the chance to reflect about the mission that I was about to undertake.
Well, I've made it to Berwick, 4 hours on the train or so. I'll be setting off tomorrow morning. Not quite there yet. I'm going to get a bus. I think it should only take about 10 minutes to the Scottish border tomorrow, and I'll actually start from there. But I'll be up bright and early tomorrow morning in order to start my run, my self-supported run back to Nottingham. Let's see how I get on.
So I've just spent the night in Berwick, but I've decided I'm not quite far north enough yet, so I'm just about to head down for breakfast and then I will get a bus north for about 5 miles so that I can go to the border of England and Scotland, and the northernmost point in England will be the official start point of this arbitrary challenge that I made up back to my house. So on day one, I was required to run about 48 kilometres. I would start at the Scotland-England border, and obviously then I would turn south following the picturesque coastal route down back into Berwick-upon-Tweed, where I caught the bus from that morning. I would then cross the River Tweed and then follow it, looking for somewhere for lunch, possibly in the villages of Norham or possibly further down in Cornhill-on-Tweed. And then my plan was to pick up the road to Kirk Yetholm, where I was planning on pitching my tent, camping for the night, and then embarking on the first leg of the Pennine Way the following morning.
Well, I'm standing on a bridge over the A1 and I've just crossed the border into Scotland. You can see just in the distance there the Scottish border flags. Oh yeah, English border, 450 yards. It's a slightly random place to start. It's slightly weird, but this whole fucking thing is weird, isn't it? So I'm going to get a crack on because it's a bit chilly. It's just started raining. I'm running that way. I don't like the look of them clouds over there. But yeah, it is just coming up to 8:30 and I think we should crack on. Here we go. What a gorgeous place to start. Soon I'll be by the sea and that will actually be quite scenic. Back in England. Didn't last very long. So officially I'm at the most northernmost point in England. Less than a mile of running in Scotland, but I will be camping in Scotland tonight with any luck. Day one, 4.2 kilometres in. My feet are already soaked. It's not been raining, but it rained last night and I'm running through a very long grass. But what a gorgeous morning. So this particular part I'm on is a bit difficult to run on, to be honest, so I'm just taking it easy here and just walking. You can see there's lots of kind of ankle spraining divots. I'm right next to a cliff as well, so I don't really want to take a dip in the sea. But while it's tough going, I thought I would talk you through my plan. It's about 550 kilometres back to Nottingham. I have planned 11 days, which is an average of 50 kilometres per day. The pack I'm carrying, that weighed about 10 kilos. So with food but without water, that was about 10 kilos, which is pretty fucking heavy, not gonna lie. I've tried to pack just the essentials that I'll need. It somehow didn't quite work out as light as I would have hoped. A little cove there. Now, as I said, I'm self-supported. I should have some friends that I'll be running with at various points who you'll meet in due time. However, they will not be helping me carry any of my stuff. It's not like they'll be bringing me like water, carrying my tent for me, all that kind of stuff. It is just me who's carrying all of that. I've not got a support crew who's going to be meeting me, you know, in a truck at various points. This is gorgeous. It's a shame that this is literally the only bit of coastline I'll run along. The other bit of added challenge, I suppose, is that my graduation for my PhD is in 2 weeks today. In 2 weeks' time, I have to be back in Nottingham. That has to happen. So I've got a very hard deadline. I've budgeted 11 days, so I've got 3 days to play with, but who knows what's going to happen between now and then. That is the plan, and the plan today is basically just eat up as many miles as possible before the rain comes in, which I think will happen about 3 o'clock, the forecast is saying. Okay, little slid there, always nice. I'm going to enjoy this beautiful coastal path.
I wended my way along the coastal path, undoing all the hard work that the bus had done this morning, the smell of salt air still lingering heavy in my nostrils. Eventually, I entered the ancient walled city of Berwick-upon-Tweed.
Well, it's taken me an hour and 8 kilometres, but I'm back in Berwick now. pace has slowed to a crawl, and you can kind of see why. I'm just going along by the banks of the River Tweed, but it's just so slow going. Very twisty paths, a lot of steep up and down steps, thistles, gorse, stinging nettles, all that good shit. So I had planned to follow this footpath quite a long way along the river, but I think what I'll do now is in a minute, when I come to a road, I'll deviate. Oh, nearly fucking stacked it there, you see. I'll deviate, and I should make much quicker going on the road, because this is just painful at the moment. It's kind of what I'm talking about, like the path is just sloped at this angle here, and that is the river there. And I'm going to need to use poles for this bit. But that's like what I mean. That's why I'm going to have to leave it. I'm just going to have to leave this path in a minute, because it's, and again, it's doing my. It's really annoying me, to be honest. Gorgeous though it is.
Having bid a fond farewell to the treacherous and slippy path that I'd been faithfully following for the last few kilometres, I picked up the tarmac and was immediately vindicated in my decision making by making much quicker going, stopping only occasionally for a packet of pub peanuts and a pint of lemonade.
That is Norham Castle. I'm just coming into Norham, which is just under the halfway point for this day, and it was definitely the right decision to go on the road. It's been a lot quicker, a lot easier going. We are at 33.4k, and I've just got into Cornhill. I'm going to walk up this hill, and there should be somewhere here to get some lunch, because it is 1:30 now and I am hungry. I found a very nice posh hotel for lunch. Unfortunately, while I was eating lunch, it has started to rain. I think it's not going to stop raining. It's been raining for half an hour now. I've got a cup of tea to try and wait it out, but I'm not sure that's going to work. I think I'm just going to have to go out and brave it at some point. So I think I'm going to get quite wet. Sit rep. It is raining, but there is blue sky over there, which is good. But I'm going towards that grey cloud there. I've got about 12 kilometres to go until my campsite, and I'll be very grateful for a rest. Well, I haven't seen a sign, but I think that must mean we're in Scotland again now, and that means there's only about 3 kilometres to go until my campsite. And it is once again a gorgeous day. I appear to have left all of that behind me for now. Hopefully I can get to the campsite before it starts raining again. Put up my tent in the sun. Oh, that feels good. Okay, the sky is looking very grey now. The storm is definitely coming this way, so I'm going to get this tent up quick as, and then I'm going to get some food. So I've just been sheltering in a little bit from the rainstorm. I couldn't have timed that any better, to be honest. As soon as I put the last peg in my tent, the heavens just opened, like absolutely pissed it down. So I put the tent up, bag inside, everything inside, and just keeping all the important stuff dry. So I think what I'll do now, yeah, this is the coffin, as CB calls it, which will be my home for the next few nights. So luckily everything is dry now. I am going to get a shower of a different kind, and then I'm going to see if there is any food available at the pub across the road. This is the bit. Oh was sheltering in here earlier when it started raining quite a lot, but this is the campsite, so I'm going up into these hills here somewhere tomorrow, not exactly sure where, but up and over those. I am now warm and dry and significantly happier, and I'm going to go to the pub, have some delicious hot food. I am charging all my stuff first, as you can see in the bit provides. It is 10 o'clock and I am in my coffin. I think I might be cold as I just have this very thin sleeping bag, but I couldn't really pack anything else. I'm going to get an early night and just listen to the rain. Bright and early tomorrow, 42k across the Cheviot Hills. Should be good fun.
As I listened to the rain hitting the roof of my tent, I sank into a cold and uneasy sleep, thinking and contemplating about the run that I would have to do tomorrow, 42 kilometres across the Cheviot Hills. There was nowhere to fill up my water en route, so all the water that I set off with that morning would have to last me throughout the course of the day. Would 5 litres be enough? There wasn't any way to know. I just had to set off and hope for the best.
Yeah. Listen, all the best. All right.
Yeah, you take care.
Yeah, cheers, I will do. Yeah, I think I got enough. But yeah, I'm sorry about you.
Oh no, don't be sorry. It's just one of them things. It's you've got to fail some point in life, haven't you? Might as well do it when you get old.
It's kind of depressing.
No.
Right, I'm definitely going to walk the first bit. I'm not running for a little bit.
First.
But yeah, all right, take care. See you later. Another gorgeous day in paradise. It rained quite a lot last night, but it is gorgeous now, which is good because I've got all day on the hills today, and this is the day I've been most fearful of, to be honest. My pack is so heavy. I've got 5 litres of water in addition to all the food and stuff, which means it's 15 kilos. That is because I don't know if there's anywhere I can fill up with water on the way. There might be some streams and stuff, but I don't want to bank on that. My feet hurt, my knee is a little bit sore, but my spirits are good, so I think we should get cracking today.
So the plan for day 2 was to pick up the Pennine Way, which was the long distance hiking route I mentioned earlier, which starts at the campsite where I was staying at that night. I would then follow the Pennine Way through the Cheviot Hills. As you can see, there's lots of mountains and lots of hills that I would have to climb. And en route, actually, there were a couple of mountain refuge huts where potentially I could stay if the day looked like it was going to go really badly, but really I was aiming for this town here, Bearness, where there was a pub where I could have hot food and ultimately a campsite I could stay in at the end of the day.
Finally got a bit of downhill. We'd like to see. Look where I am though. Hey up! I enjoyed that downhill. Yeah. Are you off this way?
It says high level Pennine Way, so you've got between low level Pennine Way.
What do you reckon?
High level, low level. I didn't realise there was a choice.
I didn't realise. Low level sounds better, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm going to check the map as well. Yeah. To be honest, no, I'm going to sit this way because the road is easier. Much easier on the road.
I mean, the road comes to an end.
Yeah, but the longer I can be on the road, the better, to be honest. Anyway, see you later. Good luck, mate. That was the bloke camping next to me last night, and he had a terrible time. His tent poles broke even, so it was a bit of a rough night for him. We had a drink at the pub last night to commiserate. 4 miles in, and I'm about 330 metres above sea level, almost exactly an hour gone, and I think that deserves a drink break. This was the 5-star hotel that I considered staying in. Pretty basic, but it'd save you in a pinch. a bad view to wake up to as well. I've got another 30k to do today though, so quite glad I'm not staying here. 726 meters. Coat on now because it's not raining, but it is very windy. It's quite cold. And just up ahead there, you can see the summit. That is 728 meters, and it's the highest point that I will reach today. It's not exactly all downhill. Oh, we've got a path. It's not exactly all downhill after that, but it's certainly most of the uphill there, which is nice. That's the first people I've seen in quite a while. Nice couple who live around here. Christ knows where they live, because I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. But crucially, I'm about halfway now. I've just got to the top of this point, which I think is Windy Gyle. Entry point, Cairn. I'm going left, pretty sure. So I can see where I've come today. Just over that boy there.
I continued running along the meandering Pennine Way, grateful for the paving slab path across the moors which would otherwise be very difficult to travel along. I also couldn't help but notice that I hadn't seen any streams all day, no water except in the form of bogs, and I felt particularly vindicated in packing a full 5 litres of water in my rucksack that morning. Sure, my bag may have been heavy, but I hadn't needed to drink bog water, and that was always a win. However, the one downside was the headwind, which I've been suffering with all day and was really starting to annoy me.
That is 25.3 kilometres. About 15 to go to the pub. Fair. I think it would have been this one I stayed in, not the other one, but again, very glad I don't have to do that. There's still 12 kilometres to the pub, maybe 13. Quick update, coat's gone back on because it's very windy. There's nasty weather behind me, which I hope I don't get caught in. And very sadly, I just realised I've run 200 metres in the wrong direction, so I'm going to have to go back up there and rectify that. I'm at 35k, and I'm officially back in England after hiking on the border all day. So I will not be in Scotland again, sadly. It is sad to leave, but I will be very happy when I've finished today. I've got one more big climb to do, which is up to there, and the hill is amusingly called Green Ogre Hill. He once told me the world is gonna roll me. Not long now until I can rest. I'm so sick of this headwind, man. I've had it all day, but on the good side, oh, we're going to cruise to the finish.
At this point, not only were my legs tired from all of the hills, but my energy resources from the solitary plate of chips and the couple of beers I'd had the night before were starting to run low.
I've been waiting all day to see that reservoir.
Luckily, only a few short downhill kilometres remained before the prospect of hot food at the pub in Beerness and a rest.
That is the last hill of the day. That is it. Oh, I can't wait to be done. Oh yeah, you know that elevation I worked so hard to get at the beginning? Nice little descent down to the pub? Nah, it's just a straight line. It's like a straight line mission at this point. All of this shite. We've got to go in a straight line! Why can't it be easy?
At long last, I finished my descent off of the Cheviot Hills, tired, hungry, but satisfied with the day's running. I was looking forward to the pub opposite the campsite and the promise of a thirst-quenching pint and a hunger-satiating plate of chips. However...
Okay, so in a heartbreaking turn of events, it doesn't look like there is a hotel here. Maybe there was once, but there's no one here. That means no pub. That means I just go straight to the campsite, which is very sad. But maybe there'll be facilities there. There'll at least be water, and I do have food that I can eat, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, update. There is a pub that is about a mile down the road in the direction I don't want to go. So I think what I will do is go to the campsite, set up my tent, and then maybe hitch a lift those 2 miles down the road. Quick update, the pub that's about 4 miles down the road that way does do food, they even do vegan food, but the kitchen shuts at 8. It is now 7:15. I don't think I'm going to be able to walk there that quickly, so I'm going to try and hitch. I've been here about 10 minutes now. Maybe this isn't the best place to hitchhike, I don't really know. I've had about 8 cars go past and they're sort of dwindling now. It is very sad. I'm going to give it another 15 minutes. If still no luck, then I might ask the guy in reception if he can call a taxi for me. Okay, so the hitchhiking didn't work. I've given up because the kitchen closes at 8 anyway. But I have bought from the camping man mini soups, so I will at least have some warm food tonight. Yes, this is my dinner now. Soup from a mug in the all-star kitchen. Yeah, fuck, I'm tired.
It's difficult to try and convey just how depressing this evening was and how miserable I was. I didn't really have any proper food all day. I certainly didn't get any for dinner tonight, and I had the promise of the pub being open only for it to be snatched away. And on top of that, I was only 2 days in and already feeling like I was starting to crack. The run was a lot more physically demanding and mentally challenging than I'd maybe considered at the outset. However, after a pep talk with CB, I wised up and decided to carry on for day 3. It could only get better from here after all.
Day 3. I'm wearing this coat because there's a billion midges at this campsite. It's very nice, but there are so many midges, so I sort of packed up everything and then fled inside this little bit again. I was feeling pretty low last night, not gonna lie. It was a difficult day, and the lack of hot food or anything at the end made it even harder. I'm trying to remain optimistic today. It does look like it's going to rain quite a lot in the afternoon, so hopefully I can make it most of the way to Hexham before it starts absolutely pissing it down. Yeah, we'll see how we get on.
Day 3 of the run was the longest of the challenge so far, and it would see me leave Scotland well and truly behind as I headed south towards the largest town I'd be staying in since Berwick of Hexham. I'd head up through the forest and a big climb to start the day, and then pick up the road as I headed for the town of Bellingham, where I planned to stop for lunch. From there I would leave the Pennine Way and continue along the tarmac, following the River North Tyne south towards the aforementioned town of Hexham. I planned to camp in Hexham just south of the town overnight. Before that, of course, I had to get there, and I had to get there on an empty stomach.
Unfortunately, this should be amazing to run to, but I'm just being swarmed by flies. It's fucking horrible. I don't know if the GoPro will do it justice to just how many of the bastards there are. It's absolutely, it's horrible.
The flies were truly pestilential, swarming around my face, my hands, my eyes and my mouth. Anywhere that they could get, trying to drink my sweat or taste my salt, I'm not even sure. They were disgusting. If I stopped, they stopped, and if I continued running, they followed me. For about an hour uphill, maybe 8 kilometers, they continued to follow me until I was so sick of them I screamed in frustration. I maintained a punishing pace all the way to Bellingham in order to try and get rid of the flies as quickly as possible. If I was out of the forest, it was likely that I'd leave them behind as well.
I've been running for 21k, 2 hours 40, but I haven't really eaten anything today. But luckily, I'm back in civilization, which is good because I'm really hungry. First time in a day and a half that I've been actually in a proper town. I don't like the look of those clouds. I'm going to get rained on in about a couple of hours, I reckon. On the plus side, I've had the first proper meal I've had since Berwick. Because I only really had chips at the pub in Kirkyeton, so I'm feeling a lot better, certainly than last night, and a lot better than about an hour ago.
I was reinvigorated by the first proper meal that I'd had in literally days. Because of the misery of the flies from earlier that morning, I'd actually been running at a really good pace today. I was due to get to Hexham before the rain arrived at 5 o'clock that evening. However, because I'd had such a difficult day, I decided to treat myself to a travel lodge instead of camping another night in the rain.
I don't know if I'll be able to keep up this pace I've been going at this morning. Honestly, I could walk to Hexham now and be there before very late. I'd like to get there by before 4 would be nice. As Joe once wrote in his year 2 what I did on my holiday, I went for a warwick in Northumberland. I didn't want to go, but I had to.
The pub was closed in the picturesque Northumberland village of Wark, so I decided instead to just have a Lucozade from the shop to refuel myself before the final push to Hexham.
I'm just at the pub, about 8 kilometres from Hexham, just about to go over the North Tyne. Just been following it downstream all day and about to cross it again. I have preemptively put my coat on because I think it's absolutely going to piss it down very shortly. There is a huge rain cloud, like big grey rain cloud over there. I've got about 8k to go, maybe a little bit more than an hour. I've done pretty well to avoid the rain all day, but I think it's fairly inevitable now. So everything's going away and let's get in for the final push. Should be there just after 3:30, I reckon.
Once again refueled and buoyed by the knowledge that the worst of the day was behind me, I crossed the River North Tyne for the second time that day and climbed up to the ancient stone monument of Hadrian's Wall. Soon my battered and broken legs were once more carrying me downhill, this time towards the wide River Tyne, which flows through the ancient Roman town of Hexham. From here, it was only a short kilometre to the final destination of the day, not a campsite, but a travel lodge hotel where I'd be staying for that night. I couldn't wait to finally be in a proper bed, the first one since Berwick upon Tweed, 136 kilometres north. And thus concluded my third day of this stupid idea of running from Scotland back to Nottingham.
County Durham, go on me son! Yeah, this is easily the heaviest rain I've had so far. I was sick out of that window.